What's up, guys? I've got a trade recap for the trade that we took this morning to make about $500 in just a couple of minutes. I feel like the trading was pretty easy today for continuation traders, so this will be a pretty short video, but I do want to give you guys the recap and show you what I was thinking. So coming into the day, I see that we created a new week opening gap, a small one here yesterday, and then we also had this one still from that big pump up, and I want to keep those in mind because I do think those will get filled, not necessarily today, but I want to see them get filled. So keeping that in mind, but I still think that we are way more bullish on this trend. Like, we're starting to flip to the upside, and once we push through this hourly gap right here, I don't really see anything stopping us from coming to the high, or at least near the high, because like we might reject somewhere in this wick, but once we come through this, I want to see us push at least a little bit higher. So that was kind of the bias coming in today, is I wanted to take these highs, but I always like to mark out draws in both directions, because as a continuation trader, I trade along with the trend. If there's reasonable draws in both direction and the trend is really favoring one of the draws, I'm okay with being wrong. I'm not a market maker. I don't always know where price is going to go, but I can, be prepared and react to what the market gives me. So in this case, I want to see these highs get taken, but if we're not taking these highs, then the next draws would be lower draws. So the entry or the beginning of this bullish fair value gap, beginning of this bullish fair value gap, and then also these lows here. So this was the initial liquidity target to look at. So coming down to like a slightly lower time frame, as you'll see, we started trending pretty well up toward this high, and we were starting to inverse this gap. The bar replay shows it kind of ahead, so that's why it looks like that. But yes, we were inversing this gap. Obviously didn't close above it, but that was the sentiment coming into the day. So market now opens at 7:30 for me, because my state does not do daylight savings, so I got an extra time to sleep today. But basically, I wanted to see potentially these highs get taken, and after that, maybe we look short. But we ended up sweeping out this high to the left, and then from there we just dumped. We did not end up taking out those highs, kind of edged them here, and we just started totally flipping. So I was looking maybe for an entry back up to the highs, because the way we edged that, like, I was just kind of surprised and I wanted to see those get taken. But one thing to consider is this is also a massive wick, and when we have huge wicks like this, like, I can't always expect us to take out the top. Like, we took out most of this here, but like on a huge wick like this, you want to be careful at always targeting like the perfect top. So I thought maybe we can get something like this, but if we just don't come back up, then I'm not going to force so long. So as you'll see, we just did not, like, we were just not coming back toward this. So I kind of went onto the 5-minute and reevaluated. And when you see the 5-minute here, I feel like the short bias becomes more evident, because like you'll see, perfect sweep. This is a really nice like doji or rejection candle to the downside, showing we want to come lower. And then we get this beautiful closure to the downside, like inversed both of these 5-minute gaps here, like as you'll see. And we're just like clearly wanting to come down. Like the way we edged that high, I'm sure we'll come take it like soon, but edged it, rejected. And then the next thing I want to see us push through is potentially this fair value gap here. Or if I go to the 15-minute, I think it looked more clear. Yeah, this fair value gap here. Once we come through this, like, I really don't see anything stopping us from at least coming to balance out this 1 hour gap before going higher again. So that's what I wanted to now see happen, pretty much for us to come through this gap. And by the way, at the same time, ES is just dumping at this point. Like, it's just totally flushing. So they're both really looking down. Like I said, continuation trader, I'm going along with the trend. I have a reasonable draw to the downside. We just want to see a little bit more confirmation and then a bit of a retrace. So we ended up pushing through the gap around here, I think. Okay. So, one more, sorry. So we pushed through the gap pretty much here, and at this point, this was the confirmation I needed to believe that we wanted to come down to the lows, push through the gap. This was my entry here, and I was targeting this low, and we have a pretty decent stop loss, which is going to be right above this, because if we're just going to stay in this range, then once we push like above this point, like if we're either in this range or we're rejecting this gap, then my trade idea is going to be wrong. So this is kind of a perfect stop loss. If not, then we're just going to come to the lows. So I thought this was a good entry. I mean, I really think we want to come down. We're just totally flooding here. Of course, it slowed down a little bit, but this kind of confirmed that we want to start continuing past this range for me. So this was a very quick trade from here. Play the first candle, really aggressive close to the downside. After that aggressive close, I went break even, because like I said, at this point, if we're pushing this low, there's really no reason for us to come higher. So I'm really just shrinking down the stop loss, because I don't want to have any more risk on this trade. And the next candle took the low. So I actually did take profits a little bit early on this, I'm not going to lie, because I am requesting a payout today. And the thing is, when you trade prop firms, sometimes you have to slightly adjust the way you trade to kind of match along with their rules. And I just needed to make like a little over $500 for my consistency rule to request a payout with my alpha account. So I took profits slightly early, like somewhere in here. But still a good trade, pretty much a 1-to-1. Could have held to the lows for full TP, but like I said, didn't want to get edged out of my payout today. So I'll show you the profit proof real quick. All right, here's the Alpha Futures account that we have. You'll see 532.20 just on the one account today, nothing too crazy. And this was the trade idea for this candle right here. So pretty solid trade. If you did make it to the end of the video, I appreciate you for watching. If you have any trading questions, please comment them below, and I hope to see you in the next one.